All right, Tuesday night's usually my international panel. There is a lot around. Let's get to it now. Kosha Gada, contributor at Sky News, of course, and former Labor MP and very proud Jewish Australian Michael Danby joins me tonight. Michael, we often cross to you in Israel, so I know on a personal level this is an extraordinarily difficult time. I'll get to the ins and outs of the politics over there, but this has rocked the Australian Jewish community, hasn't it?
And Jewish communities all over the world, and I think decent human beings all over the world, because the casualties are so heavy. 1,000 civilians murdered, most of them in their beds or bus stops or cars, and the sexual violence against young Israeli women by these Hamas crazy people. That's why so many people who are not necessarily fans of Israel, even Farid Zakaria and people like that, are so agitated about this. I saw on MSNBC they were having a go at Hamas. So it's the nature of what these beasts have done, a la Daesh and
It is
ISIS.
like Islamic State. To me, I remember all those security briefings about what was happening on Mount Sinjar to the Yazidi women. This is the new playbook in that part of the world. Help people understand this argument about moral equivalency. You know, the Palestinians have had their land stolen. I mean, there were Palestinian types out there today spewing this sort of rubbish. Help people understand the character of Hamas and that this is a terror organisation.
Hamas is an Islamist organisation very much like Daesh. It doesn't want compromise with Israel. It's not after this or that piece of land. There were negotiations under Presidents Obama, Clinton and Bush that would have given the Palestinians land for peace, but they're not interested in that. They have that Islamist vision of that only they should rule that whole geographic area. That's why these evil people in Sydney were chanting from the river to the sea. That's what it means. It's not a peace alongside Israel. It's peace instead of Israel, to terminate Israel.
Yeah.
And Hamas is, you can see by the nature of what they've just done, the nature of the organisation. It's unheard of,
horrific.
Treating women like this, pensioners, infants.
Is the world doing enough?
I think people are really in shock just because we haven't seen something like this in 50 years in that region or elsewhere. I think, when I've looked at what the reaction has been like in the last 48 hours, I would say roundly most people just condemn the barbaric, heinous, atrocious acts that have happened. And in this day and age of social media, we can see imagery that once you see it, you can't unsee it. And I think that's going to stay with everybody for a long time. But there have been some notable other pockets. There's been those rallies like you covered in your previous segment in Sydney and Vancouver and New York City of people just cheering for this, which is kind of shocking, I think, to many. There's been a lot of conspicuous silence. So President Obama was silent for a full 12 to 15 hours and then sort of came out with a tweet. You have the Squad and the U.S. Congress that expectedly were silent and then came out with sort of a mealy-mouthed statement. So that's sort of been interesting. There have been some celebrities. They don't matter, but I think it provides an interesting insight. So Kylie Jenner has 500 million followers. She put out a tweet saying she stands in solidarity with Israel, and the amount of blowback she received, she had to delete that tweet, which I think tells us something about sort of where the mood of certain pockets of the world are. So it's a little bit all over the place, and I think that's hard for a lot of people to stomach when you contrast that with what we're seeing took place.
We're going to have a quick break and come back to this point, though, but I'll ask you now, the Labor Party too is torn on this issue, isn't it?
It is, and unfortunately there are some people that have traditionally bad attitudes on this. Bob Carr, I think Michael Daly, he's, apart from being a political bozo, he's the person who didn't tell the coppers to go and stop those people from going outside the Opera House. And as Alex pointed out on your program, now that image of those people is all around the world. What does it do to Australia? Michael Daly, pick your game up.